Welcome to Tidy Up Texan. I am Nicole, and today we are going to be working out in the yard and then heading inside and doing some organization and some decluttering. But first, let's get rid of all this trash. About a week and a half's worth of trash. It's going to be a warm one today, so we are loading up this truck and we are driving this up to the dumpster. Normally we just pull these wagons up, but since we had so much, we decided to just throw it all in the back of the truck and just drive it up. And this weather, I tell you what, one week it will be freezing cold, and then the next it's going to be in the 90s, and then the next back to freezing cold. I guess that's why they say in Texas, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. But today we knew it was going to be a warm one, so we decided to get all the trash done and then work on the lawn. All right, here we have the front lawn. This is the only part that we actually call our lawn because this is the only part that stays green. But we wanted to get the three areas that we are constantly going through, and that is in front of this warehouse, on the side of the house, and in the front. We are on almost 3 acres, and it is tough to keep up with just this push mower and some weed whackers. So we have to focus on what we can, and the rest we do in small sections. And there still are sections that we haven't got to since last summer. And Ryan and I like to switch off on weed whacking and mowing. So he's going to start with the mowing in the front, and then I'll be weed whacking throughout the front. And when we bought this house, they told us that there was irrigation, but we soon found out that almost all pipes on the irrigation are broke. So the only part of the lawn that gets watered is this part here. So that's why this always stays green and the rest does not. It always makes me so happy to see the lawn all mowed. It's just so pretty. I just wish it would stay that way. We are hoping that we get a ride along by the end of the summer. Fingers crossed. They are just so darn expensive, and we just haven't been able to save enough money because one thing or another keeps happening, like the roof flying off the warehouse and the apartment getting destroyed, and so many other things. Oh, the joys of home ownership. But I won't complain because we absolutely love this place. We have been renters all our lives, and this is our first home and our first home out in the country. And we don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. It was starting to get hot, but there was a nice breeze. And having the nice breeze, my camera falls over a couple times, which you'll see in just a moment. It's hard to tell, but this slope is pretty darn steep. And as I'm going up and down, it's like pulling me downwards down the hill, and then I'm straining to get back up. And if you look in the background, all that brown stuff, that's the stuff that we haven't got to since last summer. It's so overgrown. It's about waist height. And our neighbors' barn cats love to be running through all that overgrowth because there's a bunch of mice back there, and it drives our dogs crazy. So I'm hoping to tackle that in the next week or two. Don't hold me to it. Alright, section 2 is just about done, and we're going to head down to section 3 of the warehouse. So if you're wondering what those things are on the ground right there in front of Ryan, that is the panels to the roof that flew off. They are extremely heavy, or else we would move them somewhere else, but for right now they are staying there. It doesn't look like it, but I had just mowed this last week. But because we had all those storms, it grew tremendously. I couldn't believe it. And when we bought this house, most of this wasn't in here. This is all grown into our driveway up through the gravel. And I do plan to get out here and kill most of this because it drives me crazy. Alright, we are just about done with the last section, and also my camera, as you can see, is moving, and it will be going down just now. It is finally done. It looks so good. I am so happy we got this done. I love the fresh cut lines, but I don't like mowing all that much. But it needed to be done, and it looks fantastic. I am so happy. All right, now that we have that done, we're going to move on to the inside. And this dresser is mostly for our pets, all of our treats and kitty food, dog food, treats, all that fun stuff goes in this dresser. And we have not tackled this in quite a while, and it was in dire need of some cleaning. So I'm going to empty out one drawer at a time and clean it up and reorganize it. And of course, you're going to see Gizmo, my treat fanatic. He's going to be here trying his hardest to get some treats. And of course, I give in. But he's so funny. He jumps up here and he tells us when he wants his treats. He will stand right above this drawer and he'll tap on the handle to get us to get him his treats. We have a ton of these little bags of treats, and most of them are almost empty, so I'm just going to dump them into this big container here. And the ones that are not opened yet, I'm going to stick in the back. And of course, when I get down to the next drawer, I totally forgot we had more in there too. So I had to make some more room in this drawer for those treats. But these animals, they are so stinking smart. It's ridiculous. They all have their special ways of trying to get their little treats in. But I'm curious to know if you have animals, what is their little trick to getting their treats? So in this next drawer, I have a couple of little jackets, which one of them, that little black one, I ordered thinking it was going to fit the new puppy, but it came in a teeny tiny little jacket, which doesn't even fit any of my cats. So we are going to have a massive, massive garage sale, hopefully this summer, and that little jacket will be going into that garage sale. And then I have all these essential oils I had put in here, but upon returning them, I decided I am going to put them over by my nightstand where I have been using my diffuser. So although I start putting these back, they are not staying there. But all the bottles were just so grody. They were full of oil and fur, so they needed a good washing before I put them back. And the drawer below it has some more of the sweatshirts and jackets. However, this past winter, they have gone a little crazy with their sweatshirts and getting into places they weren't supposed to and have torn those sweatshirts. So I actually have to go and buy some more. And I should probably declutter these scarves because our dogs have grown since we got them and they don't fit. Although one of them may fit our little girl, but since they are not exactly the colors for little girls, I may just declutter them anyways. This top drawer, we have a bunch of toys and wet kitty food. And since we have that one drawer completely empty, I am going to move all these toys down into that empty drawer and organize all the wet food. There are also a bunch of dog bones in this drawer, which we'll bring down to the dog's treat drawer. Unfortunately, we can't just leave the bones around because the dogs will fight over them. So they end up in this drawer. Somehow one of the containers had exploded and there's roast kitty food all over the bottom of this drawer. So this drawer will need a good scrubbing. So if you didn't know, we have 7 animals, 4 cats and 3 dogs. And that's not counting my sister-in-law's animals, with her 2 dogs and 3 cats. And let me tell you what, these animals literally take half our grocery budget every week between buying wet food, dry food, toys, litter, treats, clothing, you name it. They wipe us out every week. So yeah, we spoil them just a bit, but that's just the price of love. This drawer is for the dogs, and there's a few things in here that they just didn't like and are probably expired, so we are going to declutter some of those. And again, a bunch of scraps from bones, so we'll be tossing those. In this next drawer, we have a few of Ryan's movies and video games. And then there's a random bag of I don't know what, which we will get rid of. But once we have the downstairs fully organized and decluttered, those will probably end up going downstairs with the gigantic TV. And speaking of the downstairs, there has been no progress as of yet. We still need to paint the bathroom. Finances have been tight, so that is on hold for right now. So my sister-in-law is going to have to wait just a little bit longer to move downstairs. And if this is your first time here, so the downstairs, there is another master bedroom down there. It was my mother-in-law's, and she recently passed away. And I have my sister-in-law here who has inherited her half of the house. And since we love our room, we decided not to move down to the master, um, my mother-in-law's master, and my sister-in-law will take it over instead. But we have emptied out the master bedroom downstairs completely, and we started painting the room and the walk-in closet. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link it down below. So in this drawer, I have all of our vitamins, and I'm just going to wipe them down and put them right back. And then the drawer below it has some of the dog's wet food, which we need to restock soon. And in this last drawer, we have some of the kitty's grooming supplies and the dog's training supplies. So once I'm done with this drawer, I'm going to put all the kitty toys in that last empty drawer. And then we're going to move on to my kitchenette cabinet, which is a disaster, and I need to declutter most of it. All right, the pet dresser is complete. Let's take a look. Everything is organized and easy to find, and it didn't take me as long as I had thought in my mind it would take. I really didn't want to do this dresser, but it definitely needed it, and I am so glad I end up tackling this dresser. So I created this little kitchenette because I do not cook and I don't like going downstairs into the kitchen since we had to combine 3 households. So the kitchen is overloaded with stuff and I just can't handle it. So I created this little kitchenette for myself. And on the rare occasion I do have to cook, I actually have everything I need right here. But this cabinet has become a catch-all and it is time to declutter it. Half these cereals, well, more than half these cereals need to go. They have been sitting in here for months and months and months. And I don't even really care for cereal. It hurts my tummy. So out most of it goes. And as you can see, it is super dusty in here. So we got to take care of that. And in here I have some Tupperware, some glassware, some spices and some sauces, which most of them can go. And then I have a bunch of egg cartons, which I get my eggs from the neighbor and I save all of the cartons to reuse for next time. Got all these separated out and I'm going to go rinse off the spices and such and this little spice rack. I do this off camera, but I will bring it back nice and clean and get this cabinet cleaned up. So this cabinet was given to us by a friend, and unfortunately they did not come with the two shelves here, so this is just a big open space, which is fine because my spice rack fits in here perfectly, and it's only temporary. Eventually we'll get something nicer in here. All right, we are just about done. Hopefully you have enjoyed today's video. And as always, I so appreciate you spending your time with me. And if you would you hit that like? And if you're not already, hit that subscribe button. You guys are the best. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And until next time, as my dog is trying to jump on top of me doing this voiceover, I will see you in the next one. Bye.